Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today we're going to be looking at the new charged mythical dragon Milim. So she is the DPS character for this new Exalted Champions meta, and she seems to be, good, as most single-target DPS characters are, with a very interesting gimmick. So let's talk about said gimmick. First, she's wind, she's magic, Exalted Champions, Octagram, Demon Lord, Dragon, Hakai. She uses a fist, so Tempest Elite Trainee or the OG Wind Milim, rip that gear off of her. And she is a single target ult with no additional effect, so Guy has defense down, so that'll help her. But her first skill is pretty basic, 100% ult damage, 100% weakness strike for 15 points. 15 points for a 200% buff. And then you look back, 3 weeks ago, and you look at Blanc, who gives herself, 15% attack and for 0, and then you got to use that a whole bunch of times, and then you look at this, and you realize that 15 points for 100 versus, 200 points for 100? Yeah, it's not a good trade-off right there, but we move on. We're no longer in the Primal Demon meta. Second skill is her gimmick. So she can activate her ult for free, as long as she has an ult, essentially, is what this is saying. So if you have an ult gauge, and you're like, damn, I wish I could use this EX ult back to back, well, now you can, because that's exactly what this skill does. And we will show it off. And then she also gives herself extra ult gauge, just in case that wasn't enough. It's a once per battle gimmick, though, just like the rewind, just like the Space Shizu skill reset. You can only use it once, so you gotta make it count, and you should probably make it count with an EX ult. So we will definitely show that off. Her Valor trait nerfs blue gauges, it doesn't really matter. Her actual trait, if you have dupes, gives you protection gauge every 2 turns, which is a very, very, very good trait. So having dupes in her definitely is better than having dupes in, I would say, Guy or something like that. But let's move on and test her out in a battle. Alright, so this is the first team we're going to use, not Primal Demons, but Exalted Champion, Meta, Velzard, Veldora, Visions of Coleus Violet, who's going to be able to give a big-time magic buff to Milim. And then we brought Wielder of Magic Shinsha because of the EX ult buff, and then Guy and Milim herself. So this team will have a lot of damage output, but I think for the very first clip, we're going to showcase the gimmick skill of, using an ult and then having it not be used actually. So I'm going to cut to a point where we can make that happen. Alright, so here we are on turn 3. We have the EX ult for Milim. We've got, a decent hand. We have 130 points. But we're just going to use this skill right here. So can activate own secret skill using 0 of the gauge this turn, and then gives us extra gauge for 20%. Available when secret skill gauge is at least 100, so you at least need an ult to do this for free. But if we activate this, it now puts her ult orb on fire, and if we send this entire hand, we will be able to use the EX ult, and then we'll be able to use it again next turn, because we won't actually have used anything. So Guy will have used his ult. So 47k, it doesn't affect him, it only affects Milim. She did 212, alright, not great. We also crit there, I think, which you don't want. But we also still have an EX ult. Boom. Right? Even if we had 0 orbs for her last turn, because we had 2 technically, and people would be like, well, you just got it back. It's like, no. We used the skill, we didn't use any of the gauge, and so if you wanted to, you could full power ult, last turn, and then you could kind of half power ult the second turn, or if you have multiple buffs that last for multiple turns, then even better. But now, we have not used anything here, and we still have an EX ult. So that's going to be what the play is for, especially Inferno 3, because this Soe right now has 2.5 million, but Inferno 3 has 3.1, which is the highest HP boss in the game thus far, and it's because they expect you to double nuke with Milim, or triple nuke, for all I know. And her skill is definitely going to help us out with that. But let's rewind the clock. Let's actually now try and do big damage with Milim without maybe using the gimmick, or maybe we do. I don't know. We'll find out. Hold on. Alright, so turn 1, we have 2 orange orbs, which Veldora can change, but Violet needs to come out for Guy, because he can only change Exalted Champion orbs. But it doesn't matter what color they are. Kind of like how Nabe was for the Overlord collab, is where it would change any Stern of Spirit orb to green. The same thing is going to go on here. And, you know, we also need greens on this team. Technically, you could probably run the Overlord team under Velzard. It wouldn't be bad, actually. Is that a natural hand of greens I saw? Okay, no, never mind. We're okay. But let's go ahead and bring in Veldora again for Shinsha, since she's not going to do much until the nuke turn. We'll use his massive 70% green buff, which lasts for 2 turns, which is great. And then magic attack down, which goes up to 10%, because it's not maxed out yet. But hey, that just helps us do a little bit extra damage here. We'll go ahead and use Guide, get the extra 100% alt gauge, which means that these 2 Milim orbs with a full hand of 70% buffed greens is going to get her the EX alt, which will look good. We'll also bring Violet in now, because I want to use her buff next turn, when Milim is like ready, but not fully ready to nuke. And I want to see how much damage we actually do here with everything going on. Because we're not going to need to use that extra free ult, right? That's going to be pretty much for Jubilee only, unless you don't have some high-powered supports to put around her. So we'll do the magic buff, we'll do the synergy buff, and then we'll send both Guy and her away, and we'll hold on to those buffs. We'll get a number of points back, probably back up to 130, and that will allow us to really nuke next turn on turn 4. And because, again, she doesn't care what team you're on, if you're physical or magic or what color orb you have, you're all going to get turned to greens. That makes it very, very easy. And we still have that 70% buff from Veldora active, which means that we are guaranteed a literal butt ton of everything. Okay, so 3 hits against Veldora. Fine. Let's go ahead and use Shinsha's EX alt buff. So increases magic characters' EX alt damage by 50%. That's the only thing we really care about here, because obviously we have EX alts back here. And Milim has her own 100% alt buff that we're going to use now. So let's bring her in for Violet now that she doesn't need to do anything. And we'll bring Guy in. We have 105 points. Let's see. I think we can use another use of the magic resistance down just for funsies, right? We don't need to do anything else here. Yeah, let's do that. And then we'll bring Guy in for Veldora. So, I mean, this is a pretty good hand right here. Only Milim orbs and all that. So let's do this. This doesn't do anything. Nope. This gives us extra alt gauge. I mean, I guess we can use it for funsies. He's not going to live, for one. I'll tell you that much right now. And then we have 2 Velzards. So even if we don't kill this turn, we'll still have 1 in reserve. Boom. And we have 3 EX alts, which is really nice. So Milim right now has 15% from a barrier stone, so take that out of your equation because you may not have this active. But we have at least 100% alt damage and 50% EX alt damage, and then the gauge use of 0 ready state, which is an interesting way to word that. And then Milim herself right now has 24% attack. It starts at 20. And then 120% magic attack from Violet. That should be 100, but Drago's enhancing it. Guaranteed synergy, 48% synergy power versus the 40. 120% weakness strike that she's giving herself, which is actually 100. And then we have the element buff from Velzard herself. And now let's go ahead and watch some big, gigantic damage. And I think I realized that I didn't have Velzard's actual animation in her showcase. Oh well. I think we'll send Guy first because he lowers defense as well. And I kind of want to see how much a normal orb does. There we go. All right, we'll do this. So Guy, it's not his showcase, go away. 705k, it's pretty good for an AoE. 179k on a normal orb for Milim. That's pretty good. How much does this alt do? If we can hit around 3.6, 3.7, that'll be equivalent to what I've been doing with the other teams. This is the first time I've actually used Shinsha on this team. And we hit 3.5 4. Okay. Well, I mean, we're around that area. Not as good as some other teams that I've come up with, but it can definitely get the job done, obviously, because we did more than what he had starting HP to begin with. So Milim, obviously she's a DPS character. If you put a lot of good support around her, she will look good. And that's the same with any character in this game. If you surround them with enough support, they will look good. The problem that Milim's going to have is if you either A, don't have support around her, or B, she's not the primary focus of the team. So we'll try and build a not so heavy support heavy team around her, and we'll see how she does in some other fights. Okay, we're going to go into the Wind Tempered Edge stage, and we're going to use the old Wind 2.0 team that was meant to run on this with the hero and then Milim herself, because I want an alt swapper. So Gabiru is changing all greens to blues. He's also giving us 15 points every time we use him, and he's giving us a small magic buff, so 25%. Yeah, it's okay. And Milim will definitely have the highest attack on this team. Dino is helping us with a whole bunch of other kind of different buffs, wind resistance down. The crits we're not actually going to get here because we don't have anyone to give us crit, which is not a big deal. Geld, orb changing. Trainee is orb changing and rushing the ult for Milim, which will be very nice. The hero is putting some element resistance down, which may or may not be useful. And then, obviously, Milim herself will be the nuker. So this is a very, very low-powered team, but this is a pretty old stage, so let's see how this goes. Alright, only took 2 resets to do this, but we got a good turn 1 hand, because we can use Trainee to convert that, and then we'll bring Milim in for Dino. That'll work out fairly well. And then we can bring the hero in for Geld, because she's got Blanc underneath her, and that's going to give us some extra protection gauge. So all 3 of these characters are going to give us extra protection gauge on turn 2, which would be really nice. And if we play our cards right, we can actually use Milim's, free ult to take out Diablo and Geld essentially back to back, if we have enough damage output for that. But we do have buffs on this team that last for multiple turns, except for Milim's own personal buff, but it's cheap enough to where I don't really think that's going to make too much of a difference. Okay, yeah, we can work with that. We can definitely work with that. Also, they really don't like the hero, so let's take her out for Geld. We'll use his orb change. Gabiru is changing the green, so we don't need to worry about those. So we'll use that. We'll give Milim that 25% magic buff, and then we can do a few things here. We have 48 points. We have another 15 back here, and what I kind of want to do is I want to send all these orbs to Milim. Boom. Let's see how much gauge this gets her. A decent amount. But then let's also see... Let's use this again, which will just double up. Okay, we gotta turn that off. Double up on the points gained, and now we have enough to actually rush her ult as well for 35%, and also give us a wind buff. So that's fairly nice as well. And... oh, I gotta turn this off. That's right. That's what I was doing. Boop. Alright, so now we can send this full hand of Milims. We'll get very close to another ult. If we can maybe get that with Trainee next turn, that'll be good. And then we can go ahead and nuke. And probably take everybody out, since I think most of these buffs do last for 2 turns. I don't know about that hand, but... we still have enough to rush, I believe. So, boom. Alright, there's the EX ult right there. So we don't need to do much here now. The oranges are kind of an issue. Let's... Let's go ahead and take you out. Let's save the buffs that we have on you. And we'll send these Trainee orbs. Actually, some of these oranges. Yeah, we'll send the oranges. So what do we... okay, perfect. What do we still need to use here? We need to use the 15 points from Milim. And we need to use at least one of the debuffs from Dino here. Oh, and we need to use the 25 points here. Which it's locked for some reason. Oh, it's because she's probably in the back right now. I think we can wait one more turn, right? Let's bring you in. Dino's buffs last for 2. Yeah, wind resistance down. This is magic resistance down, but it's only on a single target. Okay, I think we'll wait on that then. So let's bring you in for Dino. Boom. Let's bring the hero in for Geld. We can use the hero to swap away the ult for free. And then we can use Gabiru to give her the magic buff again. Full hand of blues. I think we'll send this now on Geld, and that'll give us quite a bit of points. So next turn we'll be ready to nuke. And then the turn after, technically. So, okay, we're doing pretty good here. Pretty good. 27,000, not bad. That's an okay hand right there. And this is the turn where Diablo is going to hit. And we kind of don't want that, because as you can see, we're kind of down on some HP right now. So, let's do the ult buff and weakness strike. Let's do the free EX ult. The resistance down debuff, I guess we don't really need from Dino. We can just use this, huh? And we'll keep that one kind of cheap. Boom. And then, I mean, we still could bring Dino in. Boom. And we'll put the magic resistance down, just for funsies. So we'll do a lot of damage here. We'll again give Milim that 25% magic buff. So now she's looking fairly good. We've got 100% ult damage right there. She's got 100% weakness strike. She has wind attack and magic attack and a wind charm, which I didn't realize we had on. But this ult is going to be actually free, which means that if we don't kill Geld with these orbs, we will kill him next turn with another EX ult. So 357, perfect. That was plenty of damage right there. And her orb does 54k. All right, so he's not dead. And we still have our EX ult. So now we can just do it again. And we'll reapply the magic buff from Gabiru. Boom. We should have enough points to use her attack buff again. We'll lower the wind resistance. So, I mean, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. I don't even need to send this, but we're going to do it anyways. And we do 278. Not as much as the 300, because we don't have, the same power of buffs going on as we did last time. It's still plenty enough damage, and we were able to back-to-back EX ult for free. So, it's a fun gimmick. It's better than some of the other gimmicks I've seen lately. And it is pretty effective, especially in these types of scenarios where you have multiple people that you need to hit. Alright, last up, just for a fun example, we're going to take a Chabby green-focused team in against Chabby. So, just to show off, Conquest early game, right? New players maybe won't have a 112 or, all these units, maxed out, but Chabby is an OG protector. He came out when the game originally released, and still to this day can hold up fairly well because of what he does. And if you just have a green team, you're going to look fairly good. This particular hand maybe not so great, but we can yoink them with Shuna, who is a magic character. So we'll take out Lumi, we'll bring in Shuna, we'll steal those orbs, and then we'll bring in Milim, and we'll do probably a lot of damage to Chabby, so that he's going to heal next turn. More importantly, we're going to get Chabby right here. Yeah, we're doing a lot of damage to him already. Okay. He's going to heal after this 6 combo. And yeah, so I guess we'll just start the outro now, because Milim is a very competent DPS character, by all means. The fact that she can double EX ult back-to-back is something that we haven't seen before, the brand new gimmick, and it's certainly something that you do need to keep in mind, because it's going to be very impactful. So let's do the special convert right here. And then, yeah, we can do the super special convert with Veldora, and then we'll use Chabby to give all the orbs a 150% buff to all gauges. And now we're going to launch this, and we're going to look pretty good next turn. 30k right there, very easy damage. Not even with any of our buffs, right? We didn't have enough to use the actual personal buff. We would have killed if we had had the ult buff and the weakness strike. So, yeah, Milim, I think, is a good pickup for new players who need a strong DPS character. Being wind, there's not a lot of places that you can use her effectively, but she will nuke most of the game down if you have a decent amount of support around her. So let's do this, and let's do that again. So boom, boom. I mean, we can use this skill now. We don't really have to. I think we're gonna kill. Oh, well, he has super guard. Maybe not. Oh well, it's not a big deal. So yeah, I think Milim is a good pickup. I like her more than I like Guy, and obviously if you have Velzard, she's going to look even better, because you can pretty much run Velzard and Milim on almost any stage and take care of it. That's not like super specifically endgame with a very, very specific team in mind. You might not succeed very well in that. But apart from those very few stages, honestly, she's going to carry you through most of the game. Without having to be, heavily reliant on defensive skills like the Vengeance team or something like that. And there we go. Chabby's dead. So overall, I think Milim's fairly solid. She will fall off eventually, just like most DPS characters do, that don't bring any true support to the rest of the team. But at least she's a good DPS character. She's got very cheap, powerful buff, and she's got that fun gimmick. So I'd give her an initial grade of like an 8 right now for Milim. She also has very good trait, which does help her. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this new Milim. Do you like her as well? Do you think I'm maybe overselling her a bit? Let me know. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.